Well, at the end of his life, the Apostle Paul writes to his young protege, Timothy, who he has mentored and trained in sharing the gospel and preaching the Bible for many years. And he tells him that his time is coming near an end. And as he is describing it, he uses these words. He says, I have fought the good fight, and I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. And these are famous words from the Apostle Paul because they're wonderful, encouraging words. Right? He's telling Timothy, look, I've run the race. I've done all the work. I gave it all I had to Jesus and sharing the gospel. And now my time is up. And he's writing in order to encourage Timothy because he knows that just like he went through ups and downs in life and he went through hard times and difficult times, and the Apostle Paul faced incredible amounts of discouragement and hardships in his heart and in his life, he knows that Timothy is going to face those kind of things as well, because everybody does. Everybody faces moments in life where we get discouraged, when we want to quit, we want to give up because things seem too hard. And so Paul writes these words and he tells Timothy, don't give up. Follow my example. I have fought the good fight. I have kept the faith. I have kept going. And now my time is up. And I want to encourage you, Timothy, to not give up. And I think Paul wants the whole church to hear these words. That when we get to difficult times and hard times and our hearts are heavy and we feel discouraged, to be reminded to not give up, but to follow the example of Paul. It's interesting that earlier in his life, Paul actually told Timothy to do these things. He says, pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, steadfastness, gentleness. And he uses the same phrase again. He says, fight the good fight of the faith. Now, the interesting thing about this phrase, fight the good fight of faith, is that in Greek, it's the word for agony. And so essentially what Paul is saying is, agonize the good agony. Meaning, Paul's acknowledging it's going to be hard at times. You are going to be discouraged. You are going to be let down. You are going to struggle. There's going to be all kinds of ups and downs in this life. But he's encouraging Timothy, he's encouraging us to keep going at it, to keep fighting, to keep agonizing the good agony. Another way of translating this word is to give everything you have towards it. And so to keep pouring yourself out in loving people, keep pouring yourself out in serving people, keep pouring yourself out in sharing the love of Jesus with people. Paul's encouraging Timothy and you and I to not give up. And the question becomes, of course, well, how do we not give up when we feel discouraged? When we feel worn out and run down, and then Paul comes along and says, well, follow my example. I fought the good fight of faith. I want you to fight the good fight of faith. How do we do that? And he shares some advice for Timothy, and he says, take hold of the eternal life to which you were called. So how do we keep going? How do we overcome discouragement in order to keep loving and serving people? How do we overcome being worn down and run down in order to keep sharing the love and the message of Jesus with people? Is we hold on to the eternal life that Jesus has given to us. We hold on to the gift of forgiveness and promise of resurrection and eternal life that belongs to us because of Jesus. And when we hold on to that gift, it sustains us and empowers us in order to keep fighting the good fight of faith. And so my hope and prayer for you is that when you are feeling a little run down or discouraged, that you would remember what Jesus has done for you, that he loves you, he forgives you, he has given you eternal life. And that as Paul reminded Timothy, that we would be reminded to keep fighting the good fight of faith, to keep loving and serving and sharing. God's peace to you.